Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spiritual Perspectives of Our Great Awakening. Today, we have an amazing roundtable here. We have Natalie with Questioning the Narrative channel. We have Ava with Queen Midas, Life Alchemist. And we have Liz, who's joining us today from the Liz Oliveira show. Did I say that correctly, Liz?
It's just a Liz Olive show. People
Okay.
can usually say Olivera.
Okay, Liz Olive Show. Okay. So, and I will link all of their channels in the description box below. Also, just a fair reminder that I am going to be setting up a electronic way of booking with me for your personal reading. So please bear with me and be patient, everybody. I'm also going to link below Ava's link to book with her, as well as we are both now doing personal readings. Check Ava out. She's absolutely phenomenal. She reads a little differently than me, but we both bring something different to the table, and I am happy to support her and her new endeavors. How are you ladies today?
Great.
Doing good.
Doing good.
That's good. So we're going to discuss today a topic. We probably should be a little bit mindful with our words on some of these topics. If it gets really, crazy, I guess I could just post on Rumble now that I have a Rumble page set up. But we're going to be discussing the satanic origins of Easter today and kind of have just an open discussion about some of this stuff. Just as a brief synopsis, Easter, we think, is a Christian holiday associated with the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. However, it's got some more sinister beginnings to it. It comes from, so the name Easter comes from Iastre, which was Queen Semiramis, the wife of Nimrod. Now we know who Nimrod is. Nimrod was the king of Babylon. He was the great grandson of Noah, and he performed in satanic rituals, which we all know of what those are. After Nimrod's death, Queen Semiramis deified Nimrod and had an illegitimate son named Tammuz. She convinced the people that she supernaturally conceived Tammuz and that the child was God, that was the child God had promised, the incarnate of Nimrod. So we can stop there for a second. So does that sound a little familiar to you guys?
Yeah, very familiar.
Yeah, where does that come from?
I was gonna joke, a nice lighthearted topic for this weekend.
Exactly. Enjoy. I just want to remind the audience that this topic is just to present some stuff that, I've researched. I don't know if you ladies have done a little bit of research and everything in yourself. If you want to add to anything that I have gone into, by all means, you can chime in. This is just an open discussion. But for the audience, if you still feel you want to give your children candy and have the Easter bunny come into the house and all that stuff, I do not judge or condemn you. They're just children, and it's the intention behind it. We're just presenting the origins. So I want to make that clear, not to have anybody go, oh my gosh, I need to stop doing this. It's just like Christmas, everything about Christmas is pagan. We still celebrated it, just a gift give and, be with family and friends and that sort of thing. And I mean, everyone looks like a good coconut bunny cake. Come on. And the little chocolates and the eggs and the Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff. So, just, your intentions are pure. So that's what matters. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in my research, one of the things the queen told the people was that she was able to get impregnated by the sun rays, and the sun was apparently Nimrod. Nimrod, when he died, he turned to be like the sun king, the sun god, and through his rays, she apparently became impregnated to have the sun Tammuz, or however you say the name. So that's like an immaculate conception. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which we're told about Mother Mary, she had an immaculate conception. We're finding out that was not necessarily true. Joseph was in fact the father of Jesus, or Yeshua, his real name. So the origins of Easter goes back to the springtime rituals following the death of Tammuz. Legend has it Tammuz could be resurrected through the queen's tears in the new vegetation on earth. Again, it goes to the whole resurrection theory. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting, and we'll just touch briefly on topics. And you guys, if you have to add anything, please just, chime in. Babylonians considered the egg as a sacred symbol of the queen's fertility and new life. They believed a huge egg fell out of heaven, hatching the queen in the Euphrates River. I'm sorry, but that's just really funny right there.
It is. It doesn't really make sense.
Well, first of all, humans,
it would break.
We're not like chickens. We don't lay eggs.
Wouldn't it break? It would break like quickly. It'd die. Like whatever. I'm just being like too realistic about it, I guess.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. These things are like so weird.
Unless it was delivered by a stork. Unless it was delivered by a stork. Yeah. And placed carefully.
Not just plopped.
A bunny with wings.
Oh my goodness. Egg dyeing was done when doing these evil rituals celebrating the spring equinox. So we can stop there. And I have a theory for a second when it comes to the whole Easter egg hunting. I presented this on Dark Outpost this morning. So what hatches out of an egg usually?
A chicken.
Well,
I know where you're going.
A baby, right? A baby of some sort. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like that innocence, new rebirth. We don't lay eggs and let them hatch. They kind of just go in our bodies and do their thing, right? So, I'm trying to be very careful with my wording here. So, what I have to be very careful how I say this, but I kind of related it to kind of like the hunting parties that we hear about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now they're having like our little kids hunting.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I kind of connected those two. So I wanted to see what your opinion would be about that. Like, does that make sense to you guys?
That's actually, when you were talking, that's exactly where my mind went. I was like, they're like taking something innocent, breaking it and eating it.
And shifting the way that it looks and then giving it to the people so that we're in a sense doing the same thing that they are doing, but it seems all lighthearted and stuff.
Yeah.
To take off, to kind of like turn our eyes away from like the evil that's really being done.
Yeah, it's
in
like
the exact same sense, but a different context.
Yeah, it's a ritual by association, basically. Like
it's also giving permission too.
It's like Halloween. Yeah. Halloween's very much the same thing.
Yep.
I froze for a second. Okay. I'm like, where'd everybody go? Did anybody have anything to add to that, or?
No, I was just saying it's kind of similar to Halloween. It's the same
kind of. Yeah. And then we get into Ash Wednesday, which I know takes place before Easter. So the ashes on the forehead in Catholicism is equivalent to the mark of Tammuz. You hear about the mark of the beast and everything like that, which I have speculations on what exactly the mark of the beast is. And I don't necessarily think that God is sending a bunch of people to hell. I used to, but now that I know better, I see better, kind of a thing. And that's just my own personal opinion. But you get this little mark here with the cross when, in Catholic Church. And so, that would be from Tammuz.
I also read that, how Catholics do like the cross or whatever, that comes from Tammuz as well.
Yes. The whole cross thing is. Yeah. Go ahead, Liz.
I was going to say one other thing with the candy. This is maybe too much for some people, but a lot of like the typical candy that you buy in the store actually has natural flavors, which is linked to the stuff they do with
little people.
Little people. So
and no, not little people like me, the 4'11" over here. No, like young people.
like very young people.
Yes, that is very, very true. So I do recommend that, like, if parents are going to give their kids candy and everything, try your hardest to get like organic non-GMO candy, or you could just bless the candy and change its molecular structure using your words and thoughts and intentions. That's another way of helping. My son went bowling. A friend and I went bowling, and the boys were making fun of us. So I have a teenager, and she also has a teenager, and we went bowling, and there was only soda. And so I took the soda and I was blessing it in my head, and they're like, "Are you doing your weird juju again? Your hoobu jubu stuff?"
I sure am.
I'm like, damn straight.
That's so funny. Another suggestion could be even making homemade sweets. Like that way what's going into it. Like it's so easy to find homemade chocolate recipes. I think like there's one that's really easy with just like condensed milk and chocolate and like one other like cocoa powder or something. You can do like Rice Krispie treats and dye them and turn it into a whole craft with the kids, or like chocolate chip cookies or something, so it's this is an opportunity for people to get creative and know that they are safe, and most importantly that their children are being safe and not having adulterated products. So
100%.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lent for a second. So Lent comes from Tammuz as well. He died at the age of 40. Every day of Lent is 1 year of Tammuz's life. The time of fasting is to mourn the loss of Tammuz. So it's not necessarily the 40 days in the desert of temptation with Jesus and the devil.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's all about this damn Tammuz, which, by the way, he's also known as Gilgamesh, which I think is hilarious.
That's one of those things that, like, I mean, even in the like charismatic world, I always was like, didn't understand Lent because we didn't really focus on it that much. But like at the same time, some people were like, "Oh, I feel really convicted to do this for Lent," and I'm like, why? Like, what the heck is this? Like, do you know what you're doing? I mean, I didn't know anything back then, but now it's one of those things that I just kind of intuitively was like, oh, I'm glad I never did that. Like, really glad.
I just never understood fasting to begin with, because honestly, they say, oh, well, it brings you closer to God. All it did was bring me closer to hunger and ravenous eating when I couldn't comply. Yeah. Like, I don't do well. Well, I tend to try to fast during the nighttime. So I eat a dinner that's hopefully not so late for the most part, but then I won't eat around like until like 11, 12 in the morning or afternoon. So it gives as Bryce describes it, it's good to give your digestive system a break. That I can see, but going days and days and days without eating to me just seems, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand.
To add to that, actually, just from experience, I fasted 4 days, and I could have easily gone 5. And during that time, I was still running, I was still lifting, and even one day, I lifted, I ran 3 miles, and I hiked afterward, and all just on water and electrolytes. So there is a very, very powerful spiritual benefit to fasting. So I think that could be a totally different video for another day. However, in the sense that you both, you, Stephanie and Liz, were talking about how it's just like, people just kind of jump on the bandwagon and don't really understand why they're doing it. If you're just doing it, then you're going to let hunger get in the way. And then then you're going to let, oh, well, I'll just have this time. And there's no real reason to be committed to it if you're kind of just doing it because you think you need to because other people are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, for sure. Like, tagging on to that, I fasted a billion times in my life, for not even for spiritual reasons, but just because I felt like my body needed it. And we totally should do a whole video on that, because I love fasting. It's like such a weird thing to love, but I feel so different afterwards. There definitely is a spiritual component to it, to like just let your body kind of rest. And there's a whole lot we could go into with that.
And that is an experience I am yet to have, and I'm intrigued to figure it out. I'm intrigued to find out what is it like to not eat food for 4 to 5 days? I'm very
I-
intrigued.
Talk about that. We can
I
totally talk about
fasted.
that.
Oh, sorry. I fasted for 3 days once and I was not running and working out, Ava. I don't know how you did that. I had no energy, but at the end of it, like my body felt way healthier and I'm glad I did it, but it was hard.
Yeah, it definitely is super hard, but it's kind of like I always feel super powerful. Like food doesn't control me and I can get my energy from somewhere else, basically.
Yeah.
And if our stomach is our second brain, we're giving that brain a break from food and the pollutants and the toxins and all that stuff, and giving it a rest because it's not having to essentially be on 24/7 work mode. And there's all these other processes that are able to kick in after that. And then we might be tired for a little while, but then we get past that and there's a whole different type of clean energy. But again, that's more. And I do have something else to talk about in regards to Lent, Stephanie. And I didn't even think about looking up Lent, but it made me think. So doesn't Mardi Gras happen right before Lent? It kicks off Lent, correct? It's Fat Tuesday so that you can indulge before the 40 days of.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And Bryce did a whole video on Dionysus and Lent and how not Lent, Mardi Gras, and how Mardi Gras is essentially like a festival of Dionysus and like overindulgence and all of that stuff. So is Dionysus also Tammuz? Do you all know?
Don't.
That's a good question.
It's a good thing to look up.
Okay. Well,
I guess we have some more research to do after this.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Bryce has so many videos, because she's like, the questions just keep coming up as more and more she dives into things just like that, you know?
True.
She's she's like Supergirl when it comes to her research. It's like she just keeps pumping it out. And I'm just like, I can't keep up.
Yeah. She's got to love it. I mean, she does. She loves it.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely. So the ancient history of Easter consisted of a person being we'll just say leaving the earth plane not voluntarily by somebody else. You guys know where I'm going with that. That would occur at the first Sunday after the new moon after Easter. It celebrates the return of the queen. So, I mean, we know that God doesn't want us to do that to others, especially the little people. And that's what I'm talking about, like little people being removed. Yeah. Gotta be careful how I word that. Yeah. So yeah. And then we have, I don't know if anybody wants to add to that or anything like that.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, so does she supposedly come back every year?
That's what it's believed or something. I believe that's what, yeah.
Because that goes back to like that Easter egg hunt. Like she comes back and then the kids go looking for her. And if you find this egg, you keep it safe and you get like a prize or something.
Yeah.
And the bunny, am I jumping ahead if I talk about bunnies?
Yeah. Okay, we can talk about the bunny in a second here. Okay. It's okay. No worries. Because I have a theory on the bunny thing too.
Okay. I did find a confirmation. I'm like, where are my words? That Dionysus and Tammuz are the same entity, as well as Bacchus. Dionysus, born of a virgin on December 25th, killed and resurrected after 3 days. Okay.
Also probably Mithra too.
Yeah. So this is all the same energy. Dionysus was considered the only begotten son, y'all, the King of Kings, God of gods, sin bearer, redeemer, and anointed one, Alpha and Omega. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Jeez. Hello, church. They talk about the Eucharist in here, and then they talk about Dionysus as the son. Like Natalie was saying, how he was like the son, and who was it? Who the queen got pregnant from the rays or something? Yeah. So wow.
Which goes into the whole incubus succubus thing.
It does.
Yeah. Which is totally satanic. What I want to point out really quickly too, and I pointed this out on the Dark Outpost this morning is I know there are going to be certain people that are very much triggered by this conversation. If they just came out of the church or are still a part of the church. And David Zuplik made a really good point. He said, there's a bunch of people that will watch him and they're all looking for the truth and hungry for the truth. But when it comes to religion and their religious beliefs, that's where they stop and draw the line. Now, what does Bryce say about triggers? It's a place to grow. Mm-hmm. So why are you being triggered? That's the question. So we do have to question everything, including what pastors and priests tell us, because the thing is, we're coming into a new day and age where, it's going to be a lot of like inner knowing rather than being told what to believe in. Mm-hmm. Because pastors and priests are human beings just like we are. Well, some of them are not exactly human, but that's for a different day. Some are dinosaurs. Just saying. A
little bit smaller reptiles.
That's why I call them dinosaurs.
Oh my gosh.
But if you are triggered, you need to go within yourself and figure out why. And we're just presenting stuff, and it's up to that person whether they can take it with a grain of salt. We're not telling you to believe in what we're talking about, but it's always good to just question everything, including the church. Mm-hmm. So let's carry on. We're going to talk about the Easter ham, which I always wondered, like, the Jews don't eat, supposedly they don't eat pig.
No.
So why do we eat ham on Easter? Well, apparently Tammuz or Dionysus or Mithra, whoever you want to call him, I guess at this point, was going hunting and was going to hunt this boar, and the boar took him off the earth plane. Oh. Yeah, the boar killed him. So, and to commemorate the event, we eat ham.
Payback.
Okay, I got it. As like revenge or something.
Thoughts.
It's so funny.
I gotta add humor to my videos. I mean,
if he's this like big badass, how did he get taken out by a boar?
Freaking pig, come on.
No, right? I didn't even think of that.
He can kill people, but wasn't he like 2/3 God or something?
Well, and technically, wasn't he like the reincarnation of Nimrod, and Nimrod was like the great hunter?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, maybe this is why when you do something stupid, you get called a Nimrod.
Girl, yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh, you Nimrod.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And he was like super, super conceited and like, look at me and this and everything, and he gets taken out by a boar.
Wow. By a pig.
And he can't like live it down. Like they celebrate it every year. There's no forgetting about it.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that. I mean, he's supposedly the begotten son, but
he still has to get petty revenge.
At least Jesus has a story where he's like literally like a hero. But I mean, Timothy gets taken out by a pig. Right. I can just hear the pig squealing and going after him, chasing him.
I wonder if there's significance behind a boar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't look into that.
Yeah, but that's the spiritual meaning. Actually, while you guys discuss this, maybe I can look it up really quickly for our audience here and figure out, what does the boar mean? What does the boar mean spiritually?
I Google that all the time. I just Google every animal and pass it by. What does this mean spiritually?
Well, I keep seeing blue jays and they almost hit my car, so I had to look up what that was. It means new beginning. So
yeah.
All right.
I have continuously been, for like the last couple of months, been seeing hawks flying, like soaring over me, and that's like,
oh wow,
guardian and messages from the spirit realm and whatnot. I'm like, all right,
sounds about right. Very fitting.
Oh, it means procrastination.
Really?
Maybe it's a metaphor. No, maybe it's actually a metaphor. Maybe it wasn't an actual, maybe something that he was procrastinating on killed him,
I mean, it would look a little more heroic if he was killed by like a bear or by, I mean,
boars are pretty like nefarious little
They're
beasts.
aggressive. They can kill people.
Yeah.
But still, he was 2/3 God, supposedly. So
It should have just been like, no.
you will not. This isn't the Tammuz you're looking for. Use the force.
Right.
Or it could have been like a 30-foot tall boar at that time.
That's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
Maybe there was Nephilim boars. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
They are giants in the land. They just don't say what was a giant. Exactly.
Exactly. Let's talk about Easter candy and hot cross buns.
Mm.
So the Tower of Babel had a temple to Moloch on it. The people would come and bring candy and hot cross buns and flowers to honor Moloch. However, I look at it this way. If we take a food that's circular, and sometimes you put some pepperoni on it, and you put some sauce and cheese. You guys know where I'm going with that. I don't know how much of this is censored on this platform, so I gotta be careful. All those toppings represent different types of little people and ethnic groups of them and all that stuff for the elitists. So is the candy and the hot cross buns and flowers also code? Why would you be giving that kind of stuff to Moloch, who requires little people to be?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question.
Yeah, it does sound like code.
Yeah.
And hot cross buns are like literally like cut, like
Which apparently you make the cross on it with a boar tusk.
Really?
I didn't know.
Wow.
I
That's
read that
interesting.
one place.
I saw that the buns were baked in defiance to sacrifice to idols and to go against what religious leaders were telling them not to bake, I guess, during that time. But people were rebelling and still doing it, and that was to sacrifice to the
I wouldn't
idol.
say that word.
Yeah, just kidding.
Just kidding.
And then as this paganism was morphed into Christianity, they added the cross to Christianize it.
Yeah.
That's what I read. And the boar, putting it on with the boar tusk is really interesting. That's what you said, Natalie.
It's like back and forth petty things. It's like,
yeah.
Killed by boar, so I'm gonna eat one.
Well, and then you go back to like a bun in the oven means, like a baby.
Oh
yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, a lot of the sayings that makes sense. Like a lot of our language is based around some sort of event or whatever that that these groups that we're doing beforehand, and it just turns into this lingo that's passed down through society, and it almost becomes like, in a sense, like chanting when we say it, and it's like perpetuating this energy behind whatever that saying originated from. Just my thoughts on it.
Even the lullabies, they're pretty messed up. The what are they called?
Nursery rhymes.
Yeah, thank you. Nursery rhymes. Those are really messed up.
I've literally changed the words in all of them when I sing them to my son. I just completely changed them, even though the whole like Jesus loves me, this I know. I just like changed it to, instead of the Bible tells me so, because he tells me so.
That's awesome.
I'm like, I'm not playing that. No.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. You're ingraining your kids at like such a young age, these weird nursery rhymes that you don't even know what it means.
Exactly.
But psychologically or subconsciously, there's like weird messages in there being ingrained in the brain of the kid. And those stuff is what you remember the rest of your life. The stuff you learn as a kid, you can just like remember now as an adult.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were all like spells of some sort.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's weird. I always hated nursery rhymes. I didn't understand why, but I never liked them. They never made sense to me. I would always be like, this is morbid. Like, doesn't feel right. Like, what the heck? I had a whole nursery rhyme book, hated it. I wanted to burn that thing.
Yeah. And people pass them down like they're sacred, and it's like creepy.
Here,
Yeah.
podcasting for you. Like
this
Yeah.
book of old nursery rhymes. Here you go. I had this when I was a child. It's been in my family for generations.
And how did your life go after that? Right? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
just in bondage the entire time, but it's okay. You know,
Yeah. I have no money. I have no home.
Yeah.
I have bad habits. It's all good. Life's great. It's all because of those nursery rhymes.
and the brothers Grimm wrote a lot of the fairy tales that were then bought out by Disney and created into these Disney movies.
Yeah.
Like Brothers Grimm, listen to that name, and that's what people were feeding their children from the get-go, you know?
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can talk about the bunny. Just need to be extremely careful with the verbiage on YouTube. Very, very careful. So we're going to have to code things, and I think we know how to do that. So anyways, Ava, you want to lead this one? And then I'll share with you if I got anything different.
You probably have more than me. I was just going to say that the bunny symbolizes fertility and bedroom activity and stuff. So it's just yeah, because you know bunnies multiply and multiply and multiply. So that is one reason.
They're frisky.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, springtime. So the egg was like the womb and the recreation and the rebirth, and then the bunny symbolized sexuality and fertility and proliferation.
It's a bunny party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got something too, which I'll go first because it's little and I don't think it's right necessarily. So I read that when she comes out of her egg, sorry, that still makes me laugh. She apparently, to like prove her divinity, took a bird and changed it to a rabbit, but the rabbit lays eggs like a bird. I don't know.
Well, again, it goes into that whole, what do they do down below? They take different species and breed them.
Chimeras, yeah. Ooh, interesting.
So
get stuff.
What I got was, and I'm going to be extremely careful with the verbiage of this. The white rabbit, or the bunny, which is a white rabbit, symbolizes a chemical used by the powers that be for nefarious purposes that involve red liquid out of little people.
The party drug.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I get the whole bunny. But if you actually look at the origins of the bunny in Easter, it actually goes back to what you said, Ava, is the fertility thing. And then I think we can mix that in with the crazy weird thing that you got there, Natalie, because that's so weird. But yeah, so that's what I
and of
kind
course they need people to multiply so that they have more opportunities to get said substance.
Yep.
So I have a side note question. Does anyone know who this queen or who she is that we're talking about?
Isn't it Isis?
Yep.
Ishtar?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So it said that, but I don't think those are nefarious. This would be Nimrod's wife. So because I don't believe Isis was bad. I don't believe Inanna was bad. I don't believe Ishtar was bad. These are all those were all like ascended souls, very like high up ascended souls that actually never wanted to be worshipped. Bryce and I talk about this with Cindy on Bryce's channel. We did a show about Kali and we did a show about Isis. They're all just what we would call deities, but in reality they're just ascended souls that came here to teach, really. And but they do relate a lot of things. And the thing is, we don't know 100% the truth just yet, because even DuckDuckGo is not exactly telling the truth now.
Yeah.
So I'm very skeptical about that. I solely think that this is just Nimrod's wife, and that she was probably like more of a nefarious type of deity. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the deities, their stories were completely manipulated, especially like the Isis and Osiris story with, you know, how she resurrected him and everything. I have a different opinion of what actually happened, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Names can easily be switched also. So,
and I think that's what they did. I mean, look what they did to Jesus. You know what I mean? But anyways, and in Isis, Jesus was born into the priestesshood of Isis. Yeah. So let's talk about purple. So the priests wear purple generally during the Easter celebration in the church, and, you know, Lent season and all that. I'm not sure if it's exactly on Easter or if it's just during Lent, but I was looking into this because it always struck me weird. Why would they wear purple? Purple was a symbol of like royalty, and it was a symbol of high wealth, like a lot of wealth at the time. But I also know it's definitely a nefarious color for that club. Yeah. And although it sucks because it's my favorite color. So if anybody sees me wear a lot of purple, it's just because I like the color. I don't wear it to harness anything or anything like that. It's just like the amethyst. We can't be mean to the amethyst. The amethyst is beautiful, but you know, they take anything that God makes and they make it horrible, right? So I looked into this, and the symbolic meaning to it is the occult or secret dealings or hidden forces. And so there's two colors that make up the color purple, and that's blue and red. Now, blue represents the planet of Venus, and Venus is the planet of love, but it also is feminine energy. And it's related to the Mother Mary and the Sophia Mother God, and any of like divine feminine. And then we have red, and red represents Mars. Mars represents the aggressive male. Not to say every male is aggressive, but it's representing, it's the planet of WAR. So it's got more of an aggressive energy to it. So when you combine the two, it's the duality.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Does anybody else have thoughts on why priests wear purple?
It's a symbology. I can't even talk. Symbology. It's a symbol of the new.
Oh, yes.
As blue and red come together. And
yeah, I didn't even think of that.
We're trying to program us in that direction. And they've been doing it for generations.
And those colors are used in so many different logos. Look at Pepsi, look at political parties. I can't think off the top of my head other than that. But there's a lot of other companies where red and blue are the predominant colors in their logos.
It also, it kind of, in a way, represents man and woman and becoming not being able to tell the difference. Basically.
Yeah, the T agenda. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And like you said, like it's a symbol of wealth. So it's almost like putting them on a pedestal too.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a representation of the crown chakra.
Yes.
That too, yeah. I think the Freemasons also use the colors too in their symbolism.
If you think about it too, so like what Liz just said, so the base chakra is red, and then the throat chakra is blue, and then put it together, and that's the crown chakra. So it's almost like this like stair step control up to the top.
In a way, I kind of think of it as like those are like the most
affected, right?
Yeah. Well, you don't want the root blocked because then everything else gets blocked.
Well, yeah.
And then
they're the ones that we express ourselves out of, essentially. Yeah. Like your
connection. Yeah.
You control the root chakra and the throat chakra, keeping people from speaking their truth. You control their thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. And so in a lot of like, I don't know if sexual ABUSE, it starts there, then you don't talk about it, then you're disconnected, you know.
MK Ultra, yeah.
that's true.
Yep,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Ladies.
Yeah, good job, gang. I feel like I'm in Scooby-Doo. Good job, gang.
Gang.
Yeah.
So, does anybody else have anything to add to this, or
Yeah, actually, so the whole like Lent time is, them, we're, giving the energy and stuff to Tammuz, and looking at the dates, it goes back to, in like the Satanic calendar. There's a period of time where there's a ton of sacrifices sorry. There's a ton of, well, you already heard it, that needs to happen, and it falls into that time frame, and Easter also falls into that time frame.
Mhm.
And I also saw in one of the articles I was reading that the priests on Easter would take a bunch of younger women, and I'm bad at code words.
you
Okay.
can just spell it out. Just quickly spell it out.
And do basically impregnate them. I can say that, right? Okay. And then, so like on an altar on Easter, and then a year later, there should be like a fair amount of young people that are 3 months old, that they would also then take them off the earth plane the next year.
Yeah.
And then the liquid that comes from that, they say, is what they dyed the eggs with.
Oh, God.
And apparently in some religions, they have you dye it red still.
Wow.
And I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
Don't they so Passover is that the night I think Passover just passed, right?
Uh-huh.
Or
Right.
I don't remember.
It's like the right at the Nissan, the time of Nissan is right at the beginning of spring.
17th in the sun, I believe it is.
It starts tomorrow, actually. Good Friday. Passover begins at sundown, and then it goes into
Every Friday. It's every Friday at sundown.
Oh, it's every Friday?
Yeah. But you're talking
Okay.
about the time of Nissan, which is right at springtime. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Because that's when they put red liquid over their door, right?
Mhm.
Supposedly to have the to be passed over.
Yeah.
That was the whole story with Moses, where their firstborns would be safe
Saved from that. Yeah.
from, yeah. Which the whole story of Moses is a whole other can of worms I've gotten myself into. I've talked about this on Dark Outpost. Moses did not serve the same God. In fact, there's a good chance he was King Akhenaten, who was Nefertiti's wife. I mean, husband. Sorry, husband.
No, maybe you're right.
Which is King Tut's father. So
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is. There's a lot of research that I've done into it. And according to the research that I've done, and as much as I have figured out that the Bible is a bunch of BS for the most part, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some truth, so don't hate the messenger here. I'm just saying what I feel to the audience, of course. I have to say that I am pretty convinced that it's the same person. And that's where you get the rod of the Asclepius or the caduceus, which is our medical symbol with the snakes going up it, the Jacob ladder thing and all that fun stuff.
I always thought that part was weird when he had a snake idol or something.
Well,
right
there is a good symbology behind the snake, but there's also a nefarious symbology behind the snake. So the Priestess of Isis did it was more like not worshipped, but I would almost say like a totem animal of some kind. And I forgot what it means symbolically. I have like 5 books on Isis right now that I'm reading. So, and the whole Magdalene manuscript and all of that. So, but sorry, it's in here. I just can't come out here because I completely forgot, but it does have a good meaning to it. But we'll be careful with our words, but think about that documentary that just came out 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
The Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we probably shouldn't say the word VENUM or UOM. I can't spell in my head.
Yeah, I just remember reading it because I've tried to do the through the Bible in a year thing so many times, and y'all, I just couldn't keep up. I'm like, I can't do this. But I would get to that point where I don't even remember what book it's in, and maybe it's Exodus, and it talks about Moses or the group of the Israelites having a snake idol or something like that, or there was something that just like in my spirit.
He lifted up the rod of the snake, which then would heal all the people. Yeah. Okay, if God can heal, why are they having the snake heal everybody?
That's what I thought was so weird. And plus, like, I like snakes. I don't mind it. But if I'm looking at the Bible and how they demonize snakes in the Bible, but then this guy who's supposed to be leading the chosen group out of Egypt, and he's got a snake tool that he's using. I just thought it was so weird. Mm-hmm. So yeah my 2 cents on that.
Another side of it is, who knows, it could be God trying to redeem snakes in the Bible.
Who the heck knows?
Yeah, because the dark side has taken so many things that he's created for bad, and he's like, look, I can even use this.
That's a
good thought too. And this is the thing, is this is all, some research and everything, but it's all speculation too, because we honestly don't know the truth at this point. So it's always a good idea to just use your discernment and form your own opinion, but until we know better.
I just had another thought about it.
Go for it.
Like, it's kind of, it's a reptile, and it's almost like being God over the reptiles, if you kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of. So in my honest opinion, I do not think Lucifer was an angel in heaven.
No.
And I don't. I just think he was a reptile to begin with.
I mean, it said he crawled on his belly like a he's that's literally where I think that the reptilians came from, was the ones that were like him, and he had scales that were stones, gems, and when he fell, they, whatever, they came off of him, but he was slithering on his belly like a snake. And I think that I think his race is the reptilian race.
Yeah. Canaanites. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, Stephanie, until you said it a while back. And then, Liz, the point that you're making about the stones and that being like the off branches of him. So if he fell, where was he falling from then, if he was never an angel?
He fell dimensionally.
Yeah.
I think think it shifted the earth physically. And kind of, because I think like there's the whole like flat earth whatever thing, and I think that what kind of happened was when he fell, it literally like shifted the poles of the earth and turned everything upside down, literally.
Also, at the time of Atlantis, the earth in that fourth density positive at the time was twin flames that held it in. And what happened was, when the reptilians came in, they separated them, because twin flames hold a very, very high vibration. So once they separated them and then offed them, it brought the planet down. So yes, it's like you're on the right track with that theory. And again, that's a theory too. So these are all theories. But the one thing I always thought was the powers that be probably used the whole Lucifer thing, being an angel who fell out of heaven because he was cast out, probably was to make certain maybe humans feel bad for Lucifer that God kicked him out of heaven, so that they would help and worship him. I don't know. That's just one of my theories.
That makes complete sense. Because
like poor Lucifer.
Yeah, when I've heard Luciferians talk about Lucifer, they're like, no, he was a good guy. Like they knew him or something. And they're like,
Yeah, like defend.
This is ridiculous as the egg falling out of heaven.
I'm sitting there like, because I was still churchified, was breaking that at that point. And my hand, I don't know if y'all seen that gif where the lady's like, and there's like all these math problems going in front of her.
Yeah.
Butterfly in the
sky.
Yes.
Yeah, girl, TikTok.
We're talking about reading a rainbow.
Yeah, no, so they take the Reading Rainbow song and they've got like all these like weird equations with like, and it's supposed to be like something that's confusing you. And then you're like, butterfly in the sky. Like,
well, that whole song probably had, I'm sure we could break that apart and figure out the satanic symbology behind it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's everywhere. But anyways, all right, ladies, I think we're after an hour already.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you guys so much for joining me on this roundtable discussion. This was fun, and we got to get Liz on the show, so that's awesome. I've been meaning to reach out to you to bring it on my show, and next time we'll have to get Bryce on. I was going to have Bryce on, but she's out of town for the weekend, so we couldn't have our Brycey. So we love you, Bryce. Mwah.
Love you.
We know she'll watch this. All right, ladies, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.
Right. Bye.
Bye, y'all.